I gotta be honest with you guys. I thought in my last video that I made where I used this wallpaper scoring tool to show how you can score the inside of your hive to help improve the health of your bees. I thought you would have noticed this. Nobody made a comment about this black bear holding a beehive wearing bobblehead David's hat and veil. Come on, I expected you to make a comment. Look at that. Isn't that the wildest thing that you've ever seen? Look at that. I thought it was funny. Oh my gosh. Well, sorry for those of you that live in bear country where bears are tearing your hives up and you have to put electric fences up. Probably not funny for you. Thought it was kind of funny. I mean, if bears knew they could wear a hat and veil not to be stung when they attack, a hive, maybe they would wear it. I think they're pretty tough and they don't care. Most bears are hibernating this time of the year anyway. Do you feel like hibernating? It's like, we had cold weather. Now it's warming up, but it's excessively foggy outside. And it's not warm enough where I live to do anything fun outside yet. It's even when it does start to warm up, it's muddy, soggy. You can't just go outside and have a great time in the sun because if you've never lived in Illinois in the wintertime, it's gray, foggy, and wet until about Mother's Day. And that's already like the middle of May. So you spend almost like January, February, March, April, and half of May, 5 months, not really being able to kick it up and get excited about being outdoors. Now, you'll have days where it warms up and it's fun, but boy, I envy you guys that live in nice climates where it's sunny so much. Oh, I really do. My personality, my hobbies, my interests are all done in nice weather, hot weather. And so I feel secluded. Do you feel secluded sometimes? I don't know. It feels like the walls are caving in sometimes. And I think a lot of people get lonely. If you go through Christmas, here's how it works for me. I go through Christmas. I mean, you start getting cold in November or December, but then you have Christmas, and I was raised in the 60s, so I still enjoy Christmas. And we had a big family. We raised 6 children, so Christmas was cool for the kids. So that's who we are. That's who I am. Now, if you don't like Christmas, there's no reason to leave a comment about Christmas. I'm just saying that's who I am. But then after Christmas, we get into January. There's not much going on in the month of January in Illinois except extremely cold weather like we experienced this January. It's like, ooh. And so then we just kind of hang on. It's like just going to make it through January, February, March, and April. Finally in April, we'll start to see some warmer, good days, but then it's surprising that we might get a snow in April, So we finally get into May. So there's this long period of time. It can be kind of depressing. So leave a comment down below if you have winter doldrums, if you have this idea, maybe you're lonely. Gosh, I mean, who doesn't get lonely just by sometimes being cooped up inside? You can't really get outside and do what you want to. I was thinking about loneliness the other day. You can be alone by yourself and not be lonely. Or you can be in a big crowd of people or a small group of people really close to them and be very lonely. I think loneliness has a lot to do with the personality. I'm kind of an extrovert. If you know me, I like to hug, I like to laugh, I like to talk. I can go up to a stranger and invite you out for lunch or a burger. It's just who I am. I'm really comfortable doing that. My wife, not so much. She said, David, I don't know how you can just walk up to somebody, meet them for the first time, carry on a conversation, and then invite them out to have lunch with you. She said, I'm just not comfortable doing that. Maybe because she's a woman, maybe that's a little different. But as a kid, I was raised in Memphis, Tennessee, and I lived down a cul-de-sac. And that's, there was no through street where I lived, so it just went down and you circled and you went out. Probably about 5 or 6 houses on each side of the cul-de-sac. Now, I was born in 1960, had a birthday, just a few days ago. Thank you all for your birthday gifts, cards, and wishes. I'm going to be opening some of those up on a future video. Here's the thing about my neighborhood. It was 1967. Let's just plug in there. I was 7 years old. Just pick a date. And so in the 60s, where I lived at that time, it was sort of like Mayberry RFD, Andy Griffith show. It's just like everything was like different. It was not uncommon at all for on our street for other people's parents to discipline me. You know what I mean? It's like my there was just a community that it was just a large gathering of community people that looked out for each other's kids. I got in trouble a lot of times by other parents that I was like, hoping my parents wouldn't find out that the other parents had to get on to me about something I did, I shouldn't be doing or something. But no, my parents always, they told my parents, they told on me. Come on. It was just a community where we all knew each other in each other's houses. I knew who lived across the street. I knew who they were, knew their kids. Their kids were my best friend. I mean, within 5 or 6 houses of the cul-de-sac, we all knew each other. I mean, there was nothing to do in the house in 1967. No internet. TV, not really no TV. Black and white, 3 channels, boring stuff for a kid on TV. No fun there. No computers, no smartphones, nothing. There was no CD player. I mean, really think about it. We didn't have anything to do in the house. And so we went outside to play, like in the summertime, for example. So I knew all the kids in the neighborhood and we hung out together. So I think being raised in that environment, it allowed me to see how to become more of a outgoing individual. Hey, Bobby, do you want to go ride our bikes together? We'll go down to this store, buy some candy. Let's go, stuff like that. Or I would just be riding around looking for somebody to hang out with. Maybe somebody's putting some extended forks on their Schwinn, what was it called? Mustang? No, Stingray. A Schwinn Stingray. I put extended forks on my Schwinn Stingray. In fact, not in this picture, but here is my Schwinn Stingray. My dad had it chrome plated for me. Oh my gosh, can you believe that? He worked in a chrome plating place in Memphis, and he actually must have ran that through the chrome plating what are they called, bats of acid, and chrome plated it and everything. Beautiful. I'd give anything to have that bike again. I think I traded it for a friend for something he had. That's another thing we did as friends. We were always bartering, trading. Little 6 and 7, 8-year-old kids walking around. Hey, I'll trade you my bike for that, or stuff like that. I remember my mom and dad were mad because I traded my bike for something that another friend had that I wanted. They were mad about that, but they didn't make me go back and give it back or anything. They just were they were mad at me. So friendships are something that maybe you're struggling with. I read recently that loneliness is a new epidemic. In fact, they say loneliness is the new smoking. That's how bad it is on our health. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's terrible. And it was something that was growing even before COVID. COVID, the pandemic, made it worse. But it was actually something that was happening before the pandemic hit. A lot of reasons for it. I'm not going to go into that because this is a little bit about beekeeping. But have you ever been to a restaurant? Leave a comment below. If you've ever been to a restaurant and you notice somebody else over there on a table, maybe a husband and wife or a couple or something, and they're just like this. They're sitting there like this. They're not talking to each other. It's amazing. It's so common to see individual people just like this all the time, talking on their cell phones, or just not really talking, but just reading text or looking at Facebook or watching my YouTube channel. I don't know. You see a lot of people not really communicating when they have a chance to communicate. And it has a lot to do with our personalities. I think some of us are more comfortable talking than others, but I'm concerned about the state of loneliness in people's lives. And if that's you today, leave a comment. In fact, I'll tell you what, I want you to leave a comment right now about your experience with loneliness. Like, share that you're not a lonely person. Loneliness has never been an issue. You have a million friends. Or share that, yeah, I'm a lonely person. I wish I had more friends. And what I'll do, listen, I will go through anybody that puts down, well, you have to be a subscriber. I'll look to make sure the comment that you're a subscriber. But if you subscribe and you talk about loneliness, I'm going to select somebody from the comments to win my ultimate online beekeeping course worth $289. So just leave a comment about loneliness. I don't care what you say about it, just leave a comment about it. But anyway, are you a lonely person? I mean, are all of us are lonely at times. When I travel, like pretty soon, well, I've got a lot of speaking engagements coming up where I'm going to be talking about bees. When I traveled to the Honeybee Expo, I was traveling with other people, my wife, and some of the other people that help us. So I wasn't ever in a place of being alone. But sometimes I've traveled to other states, flown to other places to speak, and I'm all by myself. And being by myself, I do feel alone. Do I feel lonely? Yeah, I think I do a little bit. I'm sure I miss my wife when I travel, so I do feel lonely. Yeah, I'm lonely when I travel by myself. So I'm speaking in Nevada in just a few weeks. Looking forward to that. If you live in that area, you might want to drop in just outside of Reno in Yerington, Nevada, and take a look right here at the speakers that'll be there. It's their state conference. You guys should show up. It'd be a great time for me to see you if you're in that area. I don't get out west that much at speaking engagements. I've turned a few down. So when I travel, I feel a little bit lonely. But when I'm home, I don't think I feel lonely, although I think I would like to interact more with people just because it's my personality. Like I would like to have a team of people right now that I could make videos with. That'd be fun because that's what I love to do, and to do it with other people, that would be fun. But I don't make enough money on YouTube to actually pay people to help me. So it can be a little bit lonely making YouTube videos. And sometimes when you go through winter, if you live where I do in the prairie, look at this. I bought this for Sherry. I think it was for her birthday. You recognize what this is? No, it's not a Kindle. It's not a tablet. I'm going to turn it on and probably throw everything into some kind of chaos, but look at that. Oh, not too bad. It's a light. So a lot of people at this time of the year, not only do they get lonely, but they get depressed because a lack of sunlight, and they get sad. It actually stands for seasonal affective disorder. It means that you lack sunlight. Could be that you lack the vitamin D from sunlight, but they say just looking at this light for a little bit of time each day can help you avoid depression because it kind of helps you absorb that light that we all need, like we get from sunlight. Sherry said it's made a remarkable difference to her. I want to turn that off because I am blinded. There we go. But I'll leave a link in the description below where you can buy these on Amazon. But it has helped her. And I think a lot of people do get depressed in the wintertime because of a lack of vitamin D. Sherry has a vitamin D deficiency. So it's important for her not only to do this, but take supplements, vitamin D and all. It's supposed to help you. We can be lonely probably and may not even know that it's really starting to affect us with making us sad, depressed, or maybe just low motivation. Sometimes being lonely makes you more afraid or fearful of the future or more uneasy, I guess, have anxiety. And so when you're around other people, have you ever had a time when you kind of were going through depression, anxiety, and then all at once you went out to eat with a friend or you had an event with some close people that you enjoy being with, family members or whatever, and all at once you're just like, wow, I feel my serotonin level is higher. I feel much better. These things that were bothering me mentally aren't such a bother anymore. Yeah, loneliness really takes its toll. That's what I love about beekeeping. Beekeeping may not solve loneliness, although it can. We can go to conferences, we can be a part of bee clubs, we can keep bees with a friend, uh, we can have activities together around other people and get to know people. Some of my best friends, I would say almost all, not with the exception of a few, almost all of my best friends I have met through beekeeping, and more specifically, the Eastern Apicultural Society. Now, I'm not really plugging them. They don't pay me to say that. I wish they did. I'd take their money. Because I'm always working for them. Free volunteer. But anyway, I do promote the Eastern Apicultural Society because I love it because I have I bet 20 or 30 close friends that I met over the last, how long has it been? Since 2009, where I've really interacted all the time with other master beekeepers and people with the Eastern cultural society. So it means a lot to me. No matter where it is, come hell or high water, I will be there every single year. And so I have found beekeeping helps with combat, maybe at least not, maybe not loneliness, though it does can. It helps combat the symptoms that we oftentimes struggle with during the winter when we have the seasonal affective disorder of a lack of sunshine and all that. But it can also help during the summertime. Let me just jump into a few. One of the things that beekeeping does, everybody knows that we should move. We should really be involved in movement. I'm actually reconstructing my studio. I'm actually taking over a large area in this building and turning it into a studio so that I can be a little bit more moving around while I'm talking to you rather than sitting here. And so I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be a lot of work. That's going to take a lot of movement. But studies show that we should move the more we move. It doesn't mean you got to go and climb a mountain every day, although some people do. But it means that, sitting is not good for us. We need to get up. My watch, I've got an Apple Watch, it will tell me, hey, David, time to stand up. Bing, it's like, okay, I stand up. When I'm editing videos, I set a timer in my studio to go off every 15 minutes. Every 15 minutes when I'm editing a video for me usually takes at least an hour to 2 hours to edit it. And so every 15 minutes I get up and my studio, my edit studio is upstairs in my house. So every 15 minutes I go down the stairs and back up the stairs at least 5 times, sometimes 10 times. So I'm moving around instead of just sitting down and editing. And of course, I'm a cyclist, so every other day I'm cycling, I'm moving. There was a time where I didn't do that. In fact, when I was in college, when I was my first year in college, I remember one of my professors, I'm not sure why they had that conversation with me, but they said, David, you're not getting enough exercise. You need to exercise more. And so that's when I started doing more running and biking and such like that. But moving, it can be as simple as a walk or just, vacuuming, something like that. But moving in beekeeping requires us to move. It's amazing how much you will move as a beekeeper. The more hives you have, the more movements you'll walk more to inspect your hive. You'll be lifting boxes and all that. A lot of movement. The second thing is beekeeping really helps us because it forces us to be outdoors. I'm going to be outdoors today. It's wintertime. It's 40 degrees or a little bit more than 40. Time to switch out winter bee kinds. I'm going to be moving. I'm going to be outdoors. It's good to be outdoors. Another great part about beekeeping that I really love is it's fun to observe things. Observation. It really is. I mean, think about the joy it is to observe bees, to study bees, not just to read studies or read books necessarily, but to actually observe them with your own eyes and see what they're doing. It's so beneficial and healthy for us mentally to observe honeybees. And of course, being a part of a community, if you saw my phone here, look at that. I can't get the light just right, but it is a Beak Squad phone cover. So Beak Squad is a great community where we gather together every Thursday night at 7 p.m. live stream. I like hanging out with you guys. It's fun. It's fun to watch you leave comments and answer your questions. Beekeeping can be a community, whether it's on live stream, whether it's a big conference, whether it's a local beekeeping club, a small group of friends that keeps bees or whatever, or watching YouTube channels. Thanks for watching. I feel like you're part of my Beak Squad community. I love that. So beekeeping can help us really have a community connection to each other. Now, when I first started beekeeping, another thing that it really was good for me about it was it's a hobby that has a lot of learning opportunities. That's why hobbies are fun. Some hobbies are activities that you do, like if you play pickleball, that's going to be an activity, but you still got to learn, right? You got to learn how to play pickleball, learn some cool moves. But if for beekeeping, there's a lot of learning that has to go on. You have to learn how to keep bees. You have to learn how to manage hives. So you're constantly taking in information that helps you have a more well-rounded life as well. And what about improving your skills? That's so fun to improve a skill that you enjoy. Beekeeping, managing hives, learning how to react to your hive. You learn skills of beekeeping and you keep adding to it. That is just great to have skills that you can develop and improve upon. Now, beekeeping can also be a stress reducer because you're getting away from the things that are causing you stress. You know, you have a terrible job, or maybe you just can't get off the couch because you're lost some motivation, or you get anxiety or depression, but you've got to say, oh, I need to go look at my bees. Then you're forced to go outside and get your mind off what's bothering you and open up your hive. And I'll tell you what, if you've done any study on how important it is to be in this present moment, when you're inspecting a hive, it's hard to think about anything else. You're trying to keep the smoker going, not get stung, observe what's going on. The present moment of just living right here, right now, that's so important. And beekeeping helps us do that. And it can reduce our stress level. Usually by reducing your stress, other factors come into play, like it can help with your blood pressure, and it can just help a mental well balance and all. So beekeeping has these kind of benefits that can really help. Beekeeping has really brought me a real sense of accomplishment. I mean, I started as a hobbyist, not knowing anything of what I was doing. I spent half a decade making horrible mistakes, not knowing anything until I learned something. And then as I began to learn things after 5 years, and I keep compounding that every year. But a sense of accomplishment, like, oh, got that hive through winter. Oh, raised my own queens. I'm into queen rearing now. Oh, what an accomplishment. I made my own 5-frame nucleus. Oh, I sold a nuke to a buddy and made money off my bee. I harvested my honey for the first time. A sense of accomplishment. See, it has so many built-in points of accomplishment in beekeeping that can really help us. So if you haven't got into all those things yet, just remember, beekeeping will give you a lot of opportunities to accomplish things. You know, becoming a master beekeeper. Well, I became a master beekeeper in 2010. And back that time, there wasn't as many master beekeeper organizations. Mine is kind of the oldest. It was the grandfather of all master beekeepers organizations, Eastern Apicultural Society, established by Dr. Roger Morris. People like they were part of the original establishment of our master beekeeper program was like Roger Morris, Dewey Caron, Dr. Clarence Collis, and there's just so many notable names. I'm forgetting so many of them. I apologize, but so many great beekeepers that initialized that establishment of being certified through the Eastern Apicultural Society. It started with Cornell University, and then EAS took it over way back. And so it's the grandfather of all master beekeeper programs. And what I like about it, they don't teach you. It's not that they don't take you through journeyman, apprentice, journeyman, master. You don't have to go through their curriculum. They simply have the most stringent, difficult lab tests, written tests, oral tests, and field tests. And if you can pass those 4 tests with an 85% or higher, then you are considered a master beekeeper. That's how difficult the tests are. So I like that. When I finally passed all 4 segments, it took me 2 years. It was quite an accomplishment. A feather in your cap. You don't really do it for not necessarily for bragging rights, to make other people feel like you don't know anything unless you're a master beekeeper. I don't believe that to be true at all. But it at least made me study, forced me to study, and when I accomplished it, huge sense of accomplishment, just because the tests are so grueling. Imagine sitting in front of 3 or 4 other master beekeepers in the oral test, and they're throwing questions at you and evaluating how you answer that. Whew, tough right there. But when you get out of there and you pass, that's a sense of accomplishment. 2 more things about beekeeping. It can be a source of additional income, depending how far you want to work it, how hard you want to do a hustle with it. You can you can sell your honey, you can sell your nukes, you can raise queens, you can sell beekeeping equipment, whatever. You can work it. If you have a business mind, you can work it to help you have additional income. But let me just say, it can also be a pocketbook drainer. It can really cost a lot of money. I've spent a ton of money. I've blown and wasted a lot of money with mistakes, with things that didn't go right. So don't think it's just going to be, don't quit your day job just yet. It does take a lot of money to keep bees. Beehives are expensive. The equipment's expensive. But once you do get established, if you love it and if you enjoy doing it, if you have a really strong knack for it, to keep bees alive, then you could make money in beekeeping. And lastly, what a lot of people are interested in is self-sufficiency. A lot of people want to be self-sufficient. So they may have bought a farm out in the country, you got chickens, you got horses, cows, pigs, whatever, and you need bees to pollinate your huge orchard that you just had planted, all the apple trees and orange trees, whatever, just your gardens and all. Bees can help you become more self-sufficient. You don't have to have table sugar to sweeten all your great baked items anymore. Honey can help you do that. I feel like the luckiest person on earth because I get to look in the camera and make videos. It really isn't that lonely for me because I know that even though I can't see your face, I know you're out there. I'm talking to you today. I'm encouraging you. So I guess I would say my goal in life has always been, people ask me, what's your goal? You know, some people will come up to me and say, David, what's your passion? What's your goal in life? And I never have to go, let me think about that. If somebody said, David, what would you do if you had all the money in the world, money was no object, what would you do? What's your goal? It's simple. I've always had this goal. I think ever since I was a kid. It's this. Ready? And you've probably heard me say it before. My goal is to use my creative ability in such a way to help other people. Now that creative ability can change. It can be different things. It can be a multiple things. But that's my purpose. I want to use my creative ability to help other people. I like creating things. I like creating videos. And I'm hoping that by creating a video and looking into the camera, that in some way, my words are encouraging and supportive to you. And so sometimes I might feel like I want to be creative by going and speaking at a conference. If I can stand in front of an audience and encourage them, I'm using my creative ability and to educate people in beekeeping, but also to let them know that I love them and I want to encourage them. I think in beekeeping, it can be something that there can be lines drawn in the sand. Not always, but I think at times there can be. You know, there's still the attitude that if you don't accept every way that I believe, everything I believe about bees and my approach to bees, then you're an enemy of mine. That's sad. Beekeeping, like, look, here's the thing. If you take one bee out of a hive and you put her in a jar with air holes in it and honey at the bottom, leave her in there, do you know she won't live very long at all? I mean, she has food, she has air, you can put water, put everything you think she needs to survive. She won't survive near as long in your jar as she does in her hive with her nestmates. And why is that? I don't know, but I think it has a lot to do, maybe not with loneliness, but a beehive, a cluster of bees, the bees are a single organism, a super organism. They need each other. And so we need each other. And I wish we could get through to ourselves how much we need each other. We really do. We can't live alone. Now, there are a lot of beekeepers, I'm picking on beekeepers. This applies to anybody. So if you're not a beekeeper, it applies to you, whatever, just fill in whatever you do, right? But look, we're individual people. We're individualistic people. And we really do like to do things on our own. We like to be able to, we take care of our own stuff. We buy our own stuff. We make decisions about what we want. That doesn't always include other people. I get it. And so sometimes we can get too much into that this is all about me. My bees are about me. My bee business is competing against that bee business over there. Or my YouTube channel is competing against that other YouTube channel. And it shouldn't be that way. We should look at ourselves as collaborating and helping out each other. We're in this together and we need to appreciate each other. Otherwise, we're going to drive ourselves into that state of feeling like we're always in competition with others. We can't trust others. We don't want to be around each other. And before long, we become very lonely. Serving others and helping others is just a powerful way to defeat loneliness. When we can take a hard step sometimes, we can take a step to say, what can I do to send an email today to encourage somebody that I met at the last bee conference? What is something that I can do to help somebody that seems to be struggling? Then there's a sense of connection, of community when we take that step and begin to connect with other people. So beekeeping has the potential to be very divisive and to draw lines in the sand and people to get on one side of the fence or the other side of the fence. And I hope we don't go that direction. I think it's getting better from when I started beekeeping 30 years ago, but I can still see strong pockets of resistance where people are wanting to form cliques or groups or certain types of conflicts are happening in different clubs, all of that. Look, here's an appeal. Let's take our cue from our hives, our honeybees, and let's learn how to get along with each other for the common cause of the hive. That's what I love about Beak Squad, all of you guys watching my channel here. And so no matter where you are in life, if you're all alone today, I'm glad that we've had a chance to sit down and have a chance to talk. It's been very therapeutic for me. And maybe you've learned a thing or two about bees, but more so about the importance that beekeeping can play in our overall mental health, physical health, and our ability to connect with other people in the beekeeping community. Now, I just made a video, in case if you haven't seen it, where I demonstrated this little tool here that can really help your bees survive better. So if you don't know what this tool is, you didn't see that video, here it is right here. I'll see you over there.